Okay, it looks like it's right at 4, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone who's on here today for joining us. Our conversation today is featuring Lauren Beane and McKenna Reitz. They're joining us from North Carolina and Ohio. Today's conversation will be led by Gold Award Girl Scout and Ambassador Jasmine Webb. So we're very proud of her for earning her Gold Award this year, and we will be celebrating her in June. Again, today's conversation will be recorded, and we will be posting it to our council Facebook page on Friday. So feel free to share that with any of your friends that weren't able to make it today. Jasmine, I'll go ahead and give you the floor so you can tell us a little bit about yourself and get the conversation started.
My name is Jasmine Webb. I'm a junior in high school, and I go to Russell, Kentucky, Russell High School. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your companies. Lauren.
Go ahead, McKenna. Oh, me first? Okay. Well, nice to meet everyone virtually. So I'm Lauren Beane. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Actually just moved, but live with my husband and Boston Terrier named Zoe. And by day, I do a lot of digital marketing for corporation, but what I'm really passionate about is public speaking and kind of why I'm here. What I kind of realized last year and just the crazy year that we had is that, you know, you don't want to put your dreams on the back burner and don't want to put them on hold. And so I really leaned in last year and began speaking to help people overcome their fear of failure and how they can go after their dreams. And so that's what I do now is speaking, sharing my story and helping others overcome their fear of failure. So it's nice to meet everyone.
Hey everyone, my name is McKenna Reitz. I am from Toledo, Ohio, and I have a husband of 11 years, almost 11 years, and we have two beautiful daughters, 9 and 6, and then we have a mini golden doodle, which was our quarantine puppy that we got during quarantine because we had time to train her, which we absolutely love. And I am finishing up my 16th year teaching, and I teach advanced placement psychology, which Jasmine's very familiar with since she just took the AP Psych exam. And I also coach varsity volleyball. I had the opportunity to play volleyball in college at a school called Hope College in Holland, Michigan. And I just love having the opportunity to interact with student athletes to help them to just learn confidence and to understand how strong and powerful they truly are. And I guess I look a little bit different than everyone else. I lost all of my hair in November 2015 due to an autoimmune disease called alopecia. And I'm perfectly healthy. I just lost all of my hair. And so it's been a journey that I'm excited to kind of talk a little bit further about, that it's, you know, been almost 6 years and it's completely changed my life. And I just want to empower others to be able to transform their life challenges into gifts and opportunities. So I'm very thankful to be here and I'm excited to talk with you all.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about your all's companies.
Yeah, so I can start. So on the side, I do a lot of business coaching and public speaking. So what I really love to do is coaching other entrepreneurs to help them with whatever business problems they're facing. Sometimes it's, you know, specific things like they need help with social media or marketing, but oftentimes it's a lot of things behind all of that where they just need help having the confidence to go after one of their goals or try something that sounds really crazy, but it just might work. So what I love to do is working with other entrepreneurs. I love working with female entrepreneurs and just helping them really lean into their gifts and talents to help grow their businesses and their own personal brands.
And besides teaching as one of my full-time jobs, I also am getting into inspirational speaking and helping others to, like I said, to find a life challenge. Everyone experiences some sort of life challenge, whether it's big, small, in between, and look for the silver linings, meaning look for the positives. There are positives in every situation. And I love to use my stories to help empower others. My husband and I started a company called Challenge Coaching, where we help others, whether they're coaches or leaders, within their business. We started a podcast called Coaching and Leadership Podcast, where we want to help others just become more effective and more confident within their lives.
Okay, what are some ways that you guys implement self-care? McKenna, you can go first this time.
Okay. Everyone's gonna laugh, but I actually wake up really early in the morning. I wake up about 4:45 in the morning, which I know is crazy, but the most important thing that we have to do is take care of ourselves. Especially as women, we tend to want to take care of everyone else. And what we start to do is put ourselves on the back burner. And so I know that I have my daughters, my family, our dog, my husband, my students, my athletes, and everything in between to be taken care of the rest of the day. So I take an hour in the morning where it's still silent in my house. I go and get a good workout. I kind of make my to-do list. I focus on what I have to get focused on for that day and just focus on me to allow me to give more the rest of the day. So waking up early wasn't fun at the beginning, but now it's just become a part of my routine to allow me to be able to give back more.
Well, and I can relate to you, McKenna. I am also love being an early bird. I used to not be an early bird, but I found that you just have so much more time in your day, and I can't stay up late. So I like waking up early. But for me, when it comes to self-care, I am a doer. I always have to be feeling like I'm doing something productive, always on the move. I am horrible at just relaxing and doing nothing. But I've realized that sometimes I will go to the point where I'm just not getting anything actually done. And it's important to rest and give yourself time to recharge. So a lot of what I like to do is I love being outdoors. I love taking my dog on walks and just spending time in nature. I just moved into a house, so I have an awesome tub now. So I've come to love tub nights with my bath bombs, and that's like my own kind of self-care. Tub Tuesdays are a thing. But I love just being able to take time of telling myself what I'm getting done in this hour is I'm relaxing. And it helps me kind of get over the feeling like, oh, I need to be doing something else. Like, no, this is my time to recharge. That's what I'm checking off my list. So I found that it's very important just to be able to, stay balanced and focus on other people more effectively. Cause like McKenna, it's easy to kind of just focus on everybody else, but put yourself last. So.
Thank you. Lauren, where will you find yourself on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.?
So like McKenna, I love the mornings, and on weekends especially, I don't have to go to work, which is awesome. So I love just spending the time relaxing with a cup of coffee, sometimes on the couch cuddling with my dog. If the weather's nice, I love sitting on my screened-in porch and just kind of just taking in the morning of drinking coffee, reading a book, just enjoying the quiet before I have to get, things done on the weekend.
And that time is not quiet for me. I am usually at 10 a.m. Just got done teaching a spin class. And my 6-year-old is also a daisy. So I'm excited to say that. But our 6 and 9-year-old always play soccer at noon. So the house is always lively, dog barking, everyone's going, getting ready for soccer. Or if it's, during the fall or the winter, getting ready for a volleyball match. My husband coaches college volleyball. So by 10 a.m., the house is moving and we're always productive. So again, that's why I get up even early, not that early, not 4:45 on Saturday mornings, but our day has already been going for at least 3 hours.
All right. So McKenna, how do you motivate yourself and stay motivated?
That is a great question. And I think, as you are going through different cycles of your life, you start to learn what's working and what's not. And I really focus on, especially at my point in my life right now, is my why. I think that's really important in any aspect. Even talking to my 9-year-old, if she wants to get better at math or soccer or volleyball or whatever it may be, asking, why do you want to? And we have to create a connection between that why and yourself. And it has to be something internal coming from within. And once I can create that connection, I find that purpose, and that is the fuel to my fire. And just like Lauren says, like, I have to be doing something all the time. And when I create a to-do list for me, it gives me that motivation that I love checking those things off my list, and just having that connection and that fulfillment of accomplishment is just driven by that purpose.
Yep, I'm very similar. I like setting small, easy wins for myself. I found one thing that I just added to my office recently is a whiteboard. And that has been, it seems so simple, but it's been a game changer for me, where each day I'll write in red, okay, these are the things I have to get done today. And then in orange, I put, this is what I want to get done by the end of the week. And I found that just the action of getting up from my desk, walking over to get a fun dry erase marker and cross something off feels so satisfying to say, okay, I got this thing done. And it kind of, the small, easy wins make it easier to get a bigger project done. It's just that satisfaction of, okay, I got this done, I can keep going. But I found too, sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself all the time. There's certain weeks where I just don't want to work, or I have a hard time focusing on this project. And I found that it's really, really helpful to have a community or a group that you can kind of meet with and say, hey, I can't focus today, I don't want to get anything done, and have other people that are rooting you on and holding you accountable is super, super helpful for the times where I can't motivate myself, but I know that this person's counting on me to get this done, and they kind of cheer me on to get those projects done.
Okay, Lauren, how are you engaged in your community?
So I kind of mentioned this, but I love surrounding myself with other female entrepreneurs and speakers that are kind of going through the same journey that I am. I found that it's, you know, whatever you're trying out, whether it's starting a business or venturing into speaking, it's really hard to do it alone. You can kind of do it for a little bit, but you need that sense of community and other people that are going through something similar as you. So I found that even when we're physically distanced from people, even just having Facebook groups or online groups where you can kind of ask people questions and realize that they're having the same struggles as you has been really, really helpful for me.
I love the community. The high school and the school district that I teach in is a bigger division. So we're the biggest division in Ohio, but we are a very tight-knit community that, you know, when there's a football game, normal times, everyone goes to the football game, everyone goes to the games, everyone's at all of the drama productions. And so I love that aspect of just helping one another. And that's what community is all about. Actually in 2015, the same time when I was losing my hair, I don't know if you can see the dog's head. I actually started a toy drive for the Toledo Children's Hospital. And, you know, I was with my AP psychology students and I just said, hey, why don't we do something? And we ended up donating 1,500 toys that year. And we have not stopped. Over the past 6 years, we've donated almost 40,000 toys and over $7,000. I love to bring a lot of awareness to alopecia, which is what I was diagnosed with. And so I have put on a lot of events, a lot of awareness events. We do a lot of community service with my student athletes. We do about 100 hours of community service, whether it's at a food bank or doing charity for Ronald McDonald houses, for charity scrimmages. My goal is to broaden the perspective of my student athletes from 14 to 18 years old, that there's a bigger world besides themselves. And so the more community outreach we do, I think the stronger we grow mentally and emotionally and physically. And so, and understanding the importance of community in your life.
McKenna, what does leadership mean to you, and what is your leadership style?
Leadership means to me is practicing what you preach, is exemplifying the characteristics and the morals and values that you have instilled in yourself to others and empowering them through your actions. And I love my leadership style. You know, I have very different leadership styles when it comes to classroom, to on the court, to within the community, but it all ties into being a good person. And it's all about the character that we exemplify, whether you're in the classroom, on the playground, at the grocery store, wherever you may be. And my goal is to use a lot of positive reinforcement, is to, Lauren talked about the small wins, is to make sure that we are seeing the small wins that will build up to the bigger wins. And so I love to lead by example, which and being in the back of the pack and encouraging and empowering those that surround me. And I'm more of the outgoing leader. So I love to use my voice through encouraging. As before we were taking the AP exam today, we did a quick game time ready, speech of just, focusing them and allowing others to understand how important they are to that team, whatever team it is, whether it's a classroom or a Girl Scout troop or an actual team or a business. Everyone's important. And that's what's, really a big critical key of being a leader.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest lessons I learned, it was when I was in high school, and I was not the popular kid in high school. I was not the most smart. I was kind of just coasted in the middle for a lot of my high school experience. And part of our senior project was we had to come up with some idea that would influence our community. And so I was a dancer in high school. So I put on a dance camp to benefit the local children's hospital, and wrote my report on the event. And at the end of my senior year, I'm sitting there waiting to graduate, waiting to get back all my papers and projects and just kind of be done. And they announced that I had won the Life of Influence Award for that project. And I had never, prior to that point, I was never the kid that won the awards in school. I kind of just coasted. And it was one of the biggest lessons that I learned was that you don't need to be the most popular or the most intelligent or the most successful in the room to have an impact or to be a great leader. You can still set an example with what you do, even if you're not at the top, so to speak. So a lot of what I do is try to help find that talent in other people. And I believe that I can be the best leader by helping find those gifts in other people.
We got a question in the chat, actually. It says, when your to-do list gets too long, how do you manage your tasks so that you keep a balance? Lauren, if you want to answer that first.
Yeah, I am very, very organized. I find that a lot of times when I feel overwhelmed by my to-do list, it's because I'm not organized enough. So I first look at all my things that I have to get done, and I figure out, okay, all of these eventually need to get done, but what needs to get done first? And I kind of just put them in ranking order. And you kind of have to learn to accept that, okay, some things are not going to get done today, and that's okay. It's a matter of prioritizing. I have to get this done today. This can wait until tomorrow. Or if there is an opportunity, is there a way to pull other people in, whether it's your spouse, your sibling, your parent? Can they help you out with some of those things? Even if it's not done perfectly, can they still help you out? For example, last week was a crazy week for work for me, and I did not have time to clean the house, and we had my family coming over for Mother's Day. So I had to ask my husband, like, okay, can you please help me out with the cleaning? Can you vacuum? And I knew, let's be honest, he was not going to do as good of a job as me, but it helped take things off my to-do list. So it's a matter of accepting, okay, this is going to get done, maybe not the perfect way that I wanted it to get done, but it's a matter of prioritizing and then just asking for help when you need it.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lauren. I think that's, two things I just want to really emphasize of what Lauren talked about is, one, knowing that it's okay not to get things done, that we put so much pressure on ourselves that we have to get everything done today. If it doesn't get done today, it's okay. And I think we put all that pressure on ourselves that we have to hit everything. And the other thing is delegating. I am the worst at that. Is probably my biggest weakness, is asking for help. But over the years, I have learned that it's okay to ask for help and that we need to. And then when you ask for help, you're actually creating deeper connections with others, and they're learning that you value them. Whether it's a husband, or I do the same thing with mine, or, with a coworker or a friend. When you ask them for help, they feel so much more confident about themselves that they are valued by you. So I couldn't agree more with Lauren.
Both of you made very good points, but is there a specific quality that you think makes a great leader? And is there a particular leader that you look up to and why?
I mean, I think, sorry, go ahead, McKenna.
No, go ahead. It's a good question.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a great leader is somebody that doesn't feel the need to fight to be at the top, but they're that person that's reaching down and pulling other people up to get to the top with them. It's a matter of bringing people along with you, whether it's empowering a team or your students. How can you find those around you to help you be the best that you can? As a result, you're helping improve them and help them be their best selves. I think one of the biggest leaders is my director at my company, and she does this very thing. And it's one of the first things that I admired about her is I saw that she's not, I mean, she's very successful, but you would not know that by talking to her. You would know that by talking to other people and all the great things that they say about her. She's not one to kind of, flaunt herself and say, look how great I am, but she empowers her people. She is constantly talking about how great her team is and look at what my team did. And I think that's something that I admire, and that's the kind of leader that I want to be.
I love that. And for me to add on to what Lauren said, because I completely agree, is showing up authentically you. When you are in a leadership position, wherever it may be, whether it's on a school project to being a head of a company, when you show up authentically you're not hiding, you're not trying to be something that you're not, you are going to create a stronger knit team that are going to trust and believe in you, which allows you to be able to empower them. And to be a great leader, you have to have, I believe, high emotional intelligence, meaning that you are able to understand how other people are feeling. And be able to put yourself in their shoes. And when you are able to do that, you're able to, interact with them on a different basis. For instance, everyone's experienced this past year all differently. And, as a teacher, I've had to interact with every single student very differently because it's affected them emotionally, mentally, and physically all differently. And so I think, being able to have that high emotional intelligence and just being more empathetic and showing up more authentically you is a huge factor of a leader. And I have many leaders in my life that I just value. And one of them is my principal. He's a very good friend of mine, and he puts his staff first. And exactly what Lauren talked about is talking about we instead of me. It's about us and how we are accomplishing it together.
How important is it to have a mentor to grow as a leader, and what are some steps to build that type of relationship?
For mentors are life. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you are at in life, you need a mentor. A coach needs a coach. Every coach needs a coach. We need people to be able just to ask questions to, because we will never know all of the answers. It doesn't matter where you're at in your point of the journey of life. A mentor is one that is going to give you an outsider's point of view, because we get so stuck in this one way of thinking. And when we utilize a mentor correctly, they are going to be authentically them. They're going to be honest. And that's the type of person you want to surround yourself with, because they're going to challenge you to get out of your own way and to be able to see many different perspectives.
Yep, I completely agree. I've had mentors my whole life, and it's important to have a mentor no matter what chapter of life you're in. And it's okay to have several different mentors. When I was in high school, I had a couple different mentors. One was helping me navigate high school relationships, which were super complicated. But then I had another mentor that was helping me figure out the college process and what do I want to major in and what in the world do I want to be when I grow up. So it's important to have several different mentors. And now that, I'm working full time, I have other mentors that I'm kind of looking for, like, this is who I want to be in 5 or 10 years and how can I achieve that? But I think it's important when you're looking for a mentor, you want somebody that you admire their qualities, you see something in them that you want to be more like. But I think it's important when you're finding a mentor too, is being completely upfront and clear about what do you want out of that mentor relationship? Do you want to achieve something in your career? Are you trying to find the right college? And letting your mentor know that, say, hey, I really need help with this. Can you help me achieve that? And they'll let you know if they're the best person for it. They may have a couple other people too that they would recommend that you meet with. So it kind of just expands that network and helps you achieve whatever goal that you're looking to chase after.
What is one leadership lesson you have learned in your career?
I think for me, the best advice I've ever received is you'll never achieve your goals or become successful if you don't embrace failure. I personally spent so many years, way too many years, running from failure because I was so afraid of what would others think if I failed, or would I let my family down? But all of the successful people, if you talk to anybody, they're going to tell you about all the times that they failed, and it's several different times. And the best advice I've ever heard is you're never going to hear a yes if you don't go for it. You're always going to hear no unless you go after something. So it's a matter of knowing that, hey, I may not get this opportunity, but I'm going to get another one. But I know that if I don't try, the only answer I'm going to hear is no.
I love that. The fear of failure is so real. And that's why we don't attempt and we hold ourselves back. That was one of my big things I want to talk about. But I think the other thing is to know what you are and are not in control of. Again, we like to be, especially as women, we like to be in control of a lot of situations. And we need to take a step back and say to ourselves, do we have control over the situation? If we do, then go for it. But if we don't, what you do have control over, maybe not physically, but what you do is mentally, is the mindset, is the attitude about the situation. And once you can make the differentiation between what you do and don't have control over, it frees you, because we do feel that we have to be in control in every aspect when there's things that are out of our control. And what we do have control over is our attitude about the problem. And it's a quote that I live by that's helped me over the past 6 years, is that the problem is not the problem. The problem is the attitude about the problem. And if anyone likes Pirates of the Caribbean, it's by Captain Jack Sparrow. But that's the thing, is that, sometimes we can't solve every problem, but you can change your mindset about that problem.
What advice do you have for young Girl Scout entrepreneurs?
Keep trying. Exactly what Lauren talked about. Fail, fail, and fail again. Because every time you fail, you are failing forward, because you're learning from every single failure. And failure is a good thing, because you're trying and you're challenging yourself. And if you never try, you'll never know the endless possibilities and opportunities that are out there for you. And that's it. That's just keep trying over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think my advice would be to embrace your passions and spend time just playing and having fun. I think as we grow older, it's so easy to go from playing and having fun to focus on, what do I need to get done today? What does my family need? What's my to-do list? But I think taking the time to just have fun with things, like even if it's something like, I am never going to be the next Picasso or artist, but I love drawing. So spending time just drawing and knowing that, okay, I'm not going to achieve anything with this, but just spend time letting your mind work, embracing that creativity. I've found too that try things that you would never try otherwise. It could be goat yoga or something completely random that you know you're not going to maybe be the best at, but just embracing that, okay, I don't know what in the world I'm doing and I'm not going to be good at it, actually helps activate creativity in other areas of your life. But also, for example, trying goat yoga helps you embrace failure in other areas because it kind of lets you just let your guard down, have more fun. And if you're failing at that, it's okay, but it helps you build up that resilience when you're failing in other areas of your life as well.
It's great advice. Do you all have any advice on how to find a mentor?
You're not putting out an application. It is surrounding yourself with good people. And, when you surround yourself with good people, you're going to start to formulate those connections. You're going to start to see that your values are going to line up with other people's values. And it's something that might take time or it might happen overnight. But the big thing is just be patient and just, it might be a teacher. It might be a coworker. It might be a next door neighbor, but be open to possibilities and, just keep having conversations. Communication is the way of life. And just saying hi to someone, you never know what that hi could do and what relationship can come because of it.
Yep, I would completely agree. I think when we think of the word mentor, it sounds so official and feels like, okay, I need to find the perfect mentor. But really, it's just a relationship that helps you become a better version of yourself. So as McKenna said, it could be a teacher. It could be just anybody. It does, like, I think a lot of us build it up in our heads of where it needs to be really formal, but it's just a matter of finding somebody that you trust and that you can have open, honest conversations with.
What advice do you have for women looking to grow either their business or within the company they work for?
You want to go, Lauren?
Sure, go for it.
No, go ahead. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's simple advice. I know we've all heard it, but it's so much more difficult to actually do. You just have to go for it. If you have an idea, if you are passionate about something, you just have to go try it and see if it works. And I think a lot of us build it up in our head. And again, that fear of failure of, oh, well, what if this doesn't work out? We'll start small, test your idea out, whether it's you're wanting to progress in your company that you're working for or start your own business. Just start small and see if the idea sticks and if it works. And if it does, keep going and keep trying. And you're going to figure things out. You're going to fail a little bit on the way, but if it's something you're really passionate about, just keep going. But I think it's a matter of you just got to start. That's the most basic advice, but also the most difficult to actually do.
Absolutely. I always say, what's the worst people can say? No. Okay. Thank you for your opportunity. Thank you. And then you move on. And, but what if they say yes? And so, I have this huge golf outing that I'm putting on in June, and I've already raised $10,000 because all I did was say, hey, I would love to invite you to my golf outing. And if it would, we're also looking for sponsors. And I would say 9 out of 10 are saying yes, because I wasn't afraid to ask. Have I been afraid to ask before? Absolutely. But once I got over that fear and just forced myself to ask and learned that they can say yes, and then it keeps going on, and then you start to build that confidence. So just, what's the worst they can say? No, thank you for your time. And you move on. And just don't allow you to be in your own way.
McKenna, how do you admire someone else's success without doubting your own self-worth?
That is a very difficult thing and a very difficult journey that I have had to learn over the years. We are continually comparing ourselves, and it can be good because it can motivate you and inspire you, but it can also harm you. And what you have to learn is that no one learned how to ride a bike by jumping on the bike and going. It takes time. Some it took a day, some it takes a week, some it takes a year. And what we have to understand is that when you are comparing yourself, and the worst thing that is going on in our lives right now is social media, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, that we are continuously comparing how we look, how we act, how we dance, how we ride a bike to other people. And what we're not taking into account is that they're at different points on their journey, that they've been riding their bike for 10 years where I just started to learn my bike. So instead of comparing, be inspired by one another. And when you change that mindset, when you see that person that you're being inspired by rather than comparing, you are going to celebrate their wins. You are going to congratulate them. You're going to be genuinely happy for them. And they're going to do the same for you. And so once we learn to support each other unconditionally, then we start to really build such an amazing community.
Yep. I think it's so easy to play that comparison game and think, oh, because she had the successful, I can't do it. Or, oh, that's already been done. I shouldn't even go after this. But some of the best advice I've heard is that just because, she's already sitting at that table doesn't mean that you can't pull up a chair and sit at that table too. Or if you think there's too much room at that table, you can go find your own table and sit there. I think it's so easy for us to think, oh, well, her success means that I'm going to fail. No, her success does not equal your failure. And I think it's a matter of remembering that there's room for me at the top too. I can, just because she's already achieved this doesn't mean that I can't also go achieve that.
And I also think that that table is, what if that person could be the best mentor for you? You see their success. Well, why not ask them, hey, quick question. How were you able to do that? And that's where that communication comes in. And so that table just keeps getting fuller and fuller. And then more things are you're capable of. And it's amazing, amazing thing.
Lauren, how do you balance your career, personal life, and passions?
I get asked this question a lot, and I don't really believe in full work-life balance. I don't think it's possible to achieve everything in one day where it's a one size fits all. I think it's a matter of, I kind of like to think of it as a garden. Some days I'm going to be able to water this area of my life a lot more than others, but it's a matter of making sure that none of them are withering away. You want to make sure that you are spending time focusing on your career and going after your professional goals, but you don't want your personal life to fall to the back burner because of that. So instead of looking at it on a day-to-day basis, how can I, achieve all of these different things? I don't think that's really possible. There's certain seasons where work could be really busy, or you have a lot going on in your personal life and you can't focus on your work at the time being. But it's a matter of just, in a given week, in a given month, are you spending time focusing on each of these three things? Is there one thing that's starting to wither away a little bit? Okay, then I need to pause or take a step back from these areas so that I can go focus on that area.
Balance is so difficult. We always want to try and lead a balanced life. Once you're able to accept that there isn't going to be balance, I think you're going to be more accepting of it. So Jasmine, you're taking 5 AP exams and you're battling school and extracurriculars. And, it's again, finding that why and finding that passion. And some days, you're going to be a little bit more passionate about one thing because it's taking precedence. And, creating that to-do list and realizing and focusing on, okay, today I have to put a little bit more focus on this. But I think the biggest thing is that passion needs to be in every aspect of your life. And if it's not, then you might have to have a conversation with yourself. Then maybe you need to make a change, because I don't work, I teach. I love what I do. And if you don't have that passion and loving what you do, then it's going to make a very difficult day for you. And it's going to be really difficult to balance because you want to put all of your time into something that you are passionate about. So, there might be different levels of passion, but make sure you're passionate about everything that you do.
McKenna, what do you believe will be the biggest challenge for the next generation of female leaders behind you, and what advice would you give them?
I think it's what we've already talked about, is comparing ourselves, is that this upcoming generation has the ability to be able to see what everyone else is doing all the time. Because of social media, I think social media is really good for our society, but I also think that if it's not used and utilized appropriately, it's going to deflate self-esteem. And so if we can utilize social media in an appropriate way, that we are doing this for good. We're here to inspire and empower and motivate rather than, number of likes, number of followers, or what other people are succeeding at, shouldn't matter, because it's all about you and focusing on how you can better yourself and change the world. And once you can cut out that comparison and replace it with that inspiration, I think then every female is going to thrive and continue building upon what generations before us have done.
Yeah, I think in this era of social media filters and knowing that we can show our best edited selves, I think the biggest challenge is going to be showing our true selves and allowing ourselves to mess up and not really care what others think when we mess up. I think my advice would be the more women that can just boldly go after their goals, regardless if they fail or not, the more that can show their authentic selves and not care what others think and not feel the need to put a filter on what they share and just show their true selves. I think we're going to have an awesome, bold next generation. But I think it's important, the more women that can show the failures in addition to their successes, the better off we're all going to be.
And the last question from one of our attendees today: what can I say to someone who makes fun of the way I dress or doesn't want to play with me?
I'm going to jump in because this is very near and dear to my heart. So when I lost my hair, I felt as though my identity was taken away from me. For my entire life, I was known for my hair. And ironically, because I had so much hair, I was made fun of every single day. And it was really difficult because for far too long of my life, I allowed what other people said to dictate how I felt about myself. And what I've learned in my journey for the past 5 years is that hair, physical characteristics, how we look, do not define who we are. What other people say, what other people do not define who you are. And so people can say what they want to say, but you make the choice. And it is very difficult for you to say, I appreciate and respect your opinion, but I disagree. You don't have to say it out loud, but when you believe in yourself and you can look in that mirror and say, I am enough, I am beautiful, I am worth it, then no one will ever dictate how you feel except for you. And that took me a while to figure out, but that is why I can sit here authentically me, without a wig on, without a hat on, and knowing that I am enough and that I'm worth everything that comes to me. It has changed my life. And so just be proud of who you are and know that they are just another person in the life that, just needs a friend. That's what I have to say.
McKenna, that just gave me goosebumps. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Lauren, too, for sharing such great advice and being so real and honest with all of us. We really appreciate it. Jasmine, you did such a fantastic job leading the conversation and managing the questions that were coming in from the conversation. So thank you so much for that. Our next Unstoppable Women conversation will be on Tuesday, June 22nd at 4 p.m. We will have Dr. Mary Lloyd Ireland and Natalie Novosel, who will be speaking about women in sports. I just want to thank you all the attendees for tuning in today. We will be posting this recording on our Facebook